Welcome to the program. Markets closing on Wall Street after President Donald Trump unleashed a barrage of new tariffs on America's trading partners. We've been watching those stock markets today, especially in the U.S., many of them down. The Dow Jones Index down, you can see there, about 542 points. A big drop today. S&P 500 and NASDAQ also down on the day. Let's bring in our panel now. Angie Wong, Republican strategist and committee member for Florida's 17th District, and Julio Ricardo Varela, MSNBC columnist, also the founder of the Latino newsletter. And for the next half hour, joining us to help us guide us through these tariffs, the economic fallout here, Rebecca Harding, chief executive of the new Center for Economic Security, an organization that researches the nature of economic threats. Great to have you all here. And Rebecca, just to bring you in here first here, because, we saw the stock markets down today. We saw interesting political reaction today by the president, essentially firing the person responsible for putting out these job numbers, which were disappointing. What do you make of what we saw today?
It's altering America's position within the international community and certainly within the economic community.
Well, Rebecca, seeing today the firing of what is meant to be really a nonpartisan official who is meant to, gather statistics, publish reports. Today, the jobs numbers coming out. The president clearly not happy with what those numbers were. But, what do you think the international reaction and certainly the domestic reaction will be to seeing the president firing a nonpartisan official for presumably the fact that he simply didn't like what the report said?
We're going to see.
That is the worry, of course, is that some of those tariffs will end up being passed on to consumers. It could raise inflation. It could raise prices again. We haven't necessarily seen that in the data. And of course, right now, data potentially becoming politicized. We should mention we're looking at some live images now, and this is Air Force One along the tarmac there, awaiting the arrival of the president. That's at Joint Base Andrews here. And we are expecting, it is a Friday, the president going off for a weekend trip. We'll see exactly where he goes, but we will be monitoring that because there may be some comments upcoming from President Trump. Don't go anywhere. Our panel will be back with us shortly. We're going to take a break around the world and across the UK. This is BBC News. Welcome back. Of course, the president not head to Bedminster, but hey, a small difference. With the largest economy in the world, it makes such a drastic change, of course, to his trading outlook. Governments around the world will start to worry. The tariffs, essentially taxes imposed on any goods arriving in the U.S. from overseas, are due to come into effect, as we mentioned, in about 7 days, with the exception of some Canadian goods where they do start immediately. Brazil initially thought that it had got off fairly lightly with just a 10% tariff. It's now been raised to 50%. Elsewhere, India has been hit with a tariff of 25%. So a lot of countries affected. Let's hear some reaction from our correspondents around the world, beginning with Imogen Folks in Switzerland. Welcome back to The Context USA. Donald Trump says he's ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be repositioned in response to threats from former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev. On Thursday, Medvedev said that Donald Trump should remember that Moscow possessed Soviet-era nuclear strike capabilities. Earlier in the week, he accused the president of playing the ultimate game with Russia.
Well, this was Donald Trump's response on his social media site, saying, "I've ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in the appropriate regions, just in case these foolish and inflammatory statements are more than just words. Words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences. I hope this will not be one of those instances."
Well, let's bring in our North America correspondent now, Arunade Mukherjee, who's been following this post, the reaction to this. Arunade, it looks like at least a war of words between President Trump and a former Russian president. What does this mean, though, for the U.S.'s role in the actual war there in Ukraine? Back with our panel now, Angie Wong, Republican strategist, Julio Ricardo Varela, MSNBC columnist, and certainly the Middle East, another one of those situations, isn't it, Julio, where the president promised to work to end the war, but we're seeing Mr. Witkoff there, the special envoy. What are you expecting from that visit? Obviously looking at the humanitarian situation, also looking at a ceasefire. Do you see a breakthrough coming on either of those fronts? Welcome back, and of course, it's Friday. We like to check in with our panel for their key moments of the week. It definitely wasn't a boring week, so plenty of moments to choose from. And Julio, what's on your mind now as we're wrapping up this Friday afternoon?
And thank you for watching. Thank you to my co-presenter, Carl, as well. Plenty more to come. Do stay with us. This is BBC News.
Take care.